What's up, everybody? I'm Nick from ARSIS, and this is Beyond Forlorn. Okay, so what's going on here is basically a reaction to what Jim played in the first 8 bars of the solo section. He played a lot of sort of techie, noodly, like Andy LaRocque, some dissonant stuff in there, some tapping and sliding and all this kind of stuff. And so my initial thought is, let's go the opposite direction. Let's do something sort of contrarian. And I'm going to play just the biggest, dumbest rock lick I can think of, basically. Bend it and make it squeal a little bit. And the other thing about that helps is that big dumb rock licks tend not to be harmonically complicated. So it helps the fact that we're landing in a new key right there, right on that downbeat. And to reinforce that key a little bit is another part of the thought process there. After that, we get into this kind of thing, and this is the sort of lick that I would play when I'm improvising. It is, for the theory gigs, this is a F11 arpeggiated over G minor. So it all fits in the key of G minor, but the root of it's a little bit different. The root of it's not in a stable place in G minor, so it sits a little funny. And that's intentional. This is the kind of thing I practice improvising, and so we were in the solo section of the song doing these in the studio. We didn't really have these worked out, so as I'm improvising, this kind of thing will come out, and then we listen to it again, and I latch on to what I like and what I don't like. I sort of get rid of, and this is one of the things that made the cut, I guess. So it's really no more complicated than that. This next thing, this fast thing, came from just initial feeling that we need a flurry of notes there because we've been kind of dorky in the solo so far. It needs to just go for the throat right at this point. This lick, you see, when I do these kinds of fast licks, I'm a lot of time not really worrying about the details. Like, I'll worry about where I'm starting and where I'm ending, and the stuff in between I kind of flail. This one's a little more structured than most because we did go back and sort of refine these a little bit. Hear the structure in that. And so on. That accounts for fully half the solo. Then the fun part begins, the part that I actually like. There isn't a whole lot to say about this. It's not a terribly intellectual thing. It's melodic licks. I should probably say that the stuff in this that I care about is not the note choice, the harmony, and the chords and the arpeggios and all that stuff. What I care about is the articulation, little tiny bends, the half-step bend here, the fact that the notes leading up to the half-step bend were slightly palm muted, the harmonic on it the second time you get the same lick, little slide. That's the kind of stuff I'm paying attention to. I'm really not worried about the sweeping and the tapping and all this nonsense. I try to avoid it, actually, as much as I can. Although I am a dork, and so it does come out from time to time. Very ending of this solo, again, we got to think about what this solo is doing in the song. We're going back into another verse here. There's going to be a vocal pretty much right after. I think there's one beat at the beginning of the next measure where there's no vocal, and then we're straight in. So it's not the place for something flashy and complicated, especially because the sort of speed and density is kind of being pulled back here. We're going back into that verse section with the atmospheric clean parts and bass line and Jim's King Diamond vocal thing. And so that's kind of where we're headed. And so simple is the idea. For the harmony dorks, it's minor 4, dominant 5 into A minor. All that means is I'm just doing the simplest possible thing to set up the arrival in a new key in the verse. And that last note, it was a conscious decision not to put any vibrato or really heavy treatment on that last high C, because the vocal's coming in. We have to get out of the way. And that's about the size of it. I should probably add that this analysis really comes after the fact. Theory will not write music for you. If somebody ever invents a machine that will write music for you, I will go shoot myself. But in the meantime, I'm just going where my instincts take me and making gut, brainstem level decisions about what I think sounds good and what I think does not sound good. That's all there is to it. If you want something more rigorous and intellectual, let's talk about the songwriting and arranging across an album and that kind of stuff. Solos are just stupid, hedonistic fun to me, and I'd like for them to stay that way, please. That is my train of thought. Good night.